"64 survivors from 8 countries participated in the memorial ceremony the evening before the tribunal began. The now aging survivors are dying one by one, yet civil lawsuits seeking apology and compensation from the Japanese government continue to end in failure. Their desire for justice as yet unfulfilled, and placing their hopes in the coming tribunal, the survivors offer flowers to their fallen comrades." Prosecutors from each of the 9 countries cooperated with members of the International Organizing Committee for the Tribunal in writing the charter and individual country indictments. Most of these prosecutors were lawyers and scholars dealing with issues related to the comfort women system and other forms of wartime violence against women.
Thank you. We will now hear opening remarks from the International Organizing Committee.
On behalf of the IOC and representing Violence Against Women in War Network Japan hosting this tribunal, I want to share my joy with all the participants of the tribunal coming from more than 30 countries and 5 continents. Especially, I want to celebrate the courage of survivors and thank those who have traveled all the way from 8 countries.
We are humbled to the core by the suffering and the fortitude that stare us in the face today.
This court does not belong to any government or any power, but its judgment will resonate with solemnity and meaning. But this court is not only for survivors, it is also for those who perished. This tribunal is not only for this generation, but for generations to come.
Let me first introduce my fellow judges. To my immediate right is Judge Carmen Argibay from Argentina, Judge Christine Chinkin from the United Kingdom, and to my immediate left is Judge Willie Mutunga from Kenya. First, the judges are called upon to determine the individual responsibility of various military and political officials and Emperor Hirohito for crimes against humanity. They are charged with sexual slavery and rape of women and young girls who were confined to comfort stations established by the Japanese military. Second, the indictments charge the government of Japan with state responsibility for the commission of those crimes and seek redress on behalf of the comfort women. The government of Japan was served with notice of these proceedings and was invited to attend and participate. It has not responded to this invitation.
증언에 대해서 확인한다는 것을 당부할 수 있습니까?
In 1944, when she was 16, Ha San-suk was taken from Chuncheongnam-do to Wuhan, China, where she was placed in a Hanko comfort station. She still lives in Wuhan.
감사합니다.
How many Korean comfort women are currently alive.
북측에서는 현재까지 216명의 일본군 위안부를 발굴했습니다. There have been 198 survivors of Internqational women in South Korea. Among them, now there are approximately 155 survivors alive. Do you swear to tell the truth?
I swear.
Yes.
あなたは1940年11月に北品方面軍所属課の部隊に入隊されたわけです。はい、あなた自身が慰安所にですね、通い始めた、行くようになった時の体験をお話してください。
私が一番最初に慰安所に入ったのは昭和18年でした。それは林政権というところにおった時です。私が初めて林政権の慰安所、当時私たちは慰安所と申しません。ピーヤーと言っておったんです。そこに参りました。
こうした慰安所はですね、あなたの軍隊経験に対して暴漢を防止するためにですね、役立っていると思いますか？
役立っておりません。
それはなぜでしょうか？
私たちは1円50銭払うんだったならば、暴漢はハードです。
あなた自身もそのような考えの中で、作戦の中で暴漢に関わったことがあるんですか？
あります。昭和18年ですけども、作戦に参りました。その時に、ある裏に出兵しました。その時に、私たちの同年兵が一人の若い女性を連れてきました。21歳だと思います。それを6人の兵隊でくじ引きをして順番を決めて、そして一人一人その女を返還をいたしました。女の子は女を殺せ、子供を産むから殺せ、子供が大きくなったならば我々に反抗したから殺せというように上司の命令が変わったんです。そういうつもりですから、私たちはどうせ殺す女だったら自分の許しにがわからない。ですからどんどん動かした方がいいというようなつもりで私たちは交換をしました。
あなたがですね、この戦争や作戦に関わる中でですね、
軍隊では戦場では暴漢はつきものでした。実情茶飯事と言っていいくらいやられておりました。私も一人で単独で女を探し回って、一人の30歳ぐらいの女性を見つけ、7、8年の老婆が取り囲んでおったので、老婆を追い出して、その女性を強姦しようと思いましたら、その女性は隠れてしまって見つからなかった。一生懸命探しましたところ、中国には豚小屋がございまして、豚小屋は便所を兼ねております。そしてそこへ隠れて、彼女は衣服の底にお物、大便をいっぱいなすりつけて、もうそばへも寄れないような格好をしておりました。私はその姿を見たときに、逆に村々と入って情力を注ぎまして、悩み押し込めて強姦をしました。こうするんじゃないわ。こういうような私たちは気持ちを持って強姦をやったわけです。
Thank you very much for coming. We appreciate your testimony. We appreciate your willingness to tell the truth. So as you said, sir, so the truth can be known about.
Terpaksa mau mati, mau hidup, dia bilang. Ya saya terpaksa dan mau hidup. Saya pasrah gitu. Supaya dia minta maaf kepada saya sudah besar dan bagaimana keadaan saya sudah begini tua, mau bapak saya sudah tua, saya sudah tua begini, mama kalau saya bisa entah sore, entah malam saya mati dan minta kepada pemerintah cepat kita pasti adili.
So it's your professional opinion that the state takes responsibility for the condition that assists in recovery?
Yes, I want to connect with 4 points and say, if the state takes responsibility, how that would affect the trauma of women. So first one
Serbian psychologist Lepa Milojanovic testified that the punishment of the perpetrators leads to the easing of trauma and the recovery of self-esteem. And UN war crimes tribunals and the International Criminal Court becoming more important than ever before, this People's Tribunal had drawn the attention of the international community as a groundbreaking experiment. What would the verdict be? Tension and excitement filled the hall.
In the early 1990s, Asian women began to break almost 5 decades of painful silence to demand apology and compensation for the atrocities they and others suffered under Japanese military sexual slavery during the war in the 1930s and 1940s in the Asia-Pacific region. The sexual slavery experienced by the women who testified supports a finding that it constitutes crimes against humanity. The system of abductions, transportation, rapes, and enslavement of the women were widespread or systematic. In conclusion, the judges find that the emperor knew or should have known about the crimes of sexual violence committed in Nanking, and that he knew or should have known about the establishment and operation of the system of comfort stations. The emperor failed to fulfill his duty, and as such is criminally liable for all of the charges lodged in the indictments with respect to the rape and sexual slavery committed by the Japanese military from 1937 until the end of the war.
In addition to the individual criminal liability of the Emperor Hirohito, the judges have determined that the state of Japan is responsible under international law for the offences presented in the indictments in accordance with Article 4 of the Charter of this tribunal. The tribunal notes that women, either as individuals or as a group, had no voice or status equal to men at the time of the conclusion of those peace treaties, with the direct consequence that issues of military sexual slavery and rape were inevitably left unaddressed at that time and formed no part to the background to the negotiations and the ultimate resolution of the peace treaties. The judges continue that such gender blindness in international peace processes contributes to the continuing culture of impunity for crimes perpetrated against women in armed conflict. As such, the tribunal finds that the individual victims of Japanese military sexual slavery have a right to claim compensation from the government of Japan.
Today, the judges have found Emperor Hirohito guilty of crimes against humanity.